Hello and welcome to My Cupcake Addiction, where today I'm going to be showing you how to make these amazingly delicious no-bake Oreo cheesecake cupcakes. So these are perfect individual sized portions of decadent cookies and cream cheesecake, and you can make them in regular cupcake size, you can make them in muffin size or in minis depending on what you want to use them for. Let's get started. The things that you'll need to make your cheesecakes: you're going to need an electric mixer for this, and I've got both a whisk attachment and a paddle, but either or will do. I've got some thickened cream, so for me this is a whipping cream. It's about a 35 to 40% milk fat, depending on where you're living. It may be called different things. I've got some caster sugar or superfine sugar, a little bit of lemon juice, a pinch of salt, and I'm using some vanilla sugar today. You can replace this with clear vanilla extract, or you can use vanilla essence, but if you're using a coloured vanilla essence, just be aware that it may change the colour of your finished cheesecakes ever so slightly. I've got one regular packet of Oreo cookies, which I've crushed. I've left them relatively chunky, but still definitely crushed. A packet of minis, which I've left whole, some softened cream cheese and a spoon, and another packet of Oreo biscuits, which I'm leaving whole to line my cupcakes. Of course, I've got my cupcake tray and I've got 12 cupcake liners. For the printable version of this recipe, including all of your measurements, conversions, and quantities, you can head to the My Cupcake Addiction blog. I will leave a link to that post in the description box below, and trust me, you want to print this recipe. It's gonna be a new favorite. I've also got a disposable piping bag, and I'm using a large open star tip piping nozzle. I'm using the bag and tip today to decorate my cupcakes, but you could also get just a can of your Dream Whip or your canned whipped cream if you want to save a little bit of time and a couple of extra pieces of equipment. So the first thing you want to do is you want to pour in that cream, and you should have another amount of cream sitting off to the side for decoration, but your recipe amount of cream needs to be whipped on a high speed until it is semi-whipped. You don't want to whip this till it's super firm, because otherwise when we mix it into the rest of our mix, you risk over whipping it. So you can see there, it really should just kind of dollop off the spoon by itself. Pour that cream into a separate bowl and sit it off to the side, and I'm actually going to switch to my paddle attachment here, but like I said, it really doesn't matter. Add in your softened cream cheese, your superfine or caster sugar, your lemon juice, your pinch of salt, and your vanilla sugar or your clear vanilla extract. And then you want to lower those beaters down, and you want to mix them on a low speed to begin with, and then turning them up to high speed until they are thoroughly creamed. It's about 2 minutes. Once your cream cheese mixture almost resembles whipped cream, you want to take that whipped cream that you've set aside and pour it into the bowl. Turn it back onto a high speed, but the key here is that we don't want to over whip. So I'm really only turning it on for about 10 to 20 seconds to thoroughly combine those ingredients together, and then switch it off so we don't over whip that cream, and we're going to move to a hand mixer or just a large spoon. Pour in all of your Oreo cookies, and we're just going to mix these through by hand. This is once again to get an even distribution, but to make sure we're not over whipping the cream. Once they're mixed all the way through, you want to take your cupcake tray with your cupcake liners, and we're going to position a whole Oreo cookie from that second packet into the base of each, making sure the cookie's in the center. Now I'm going to take a tablespoon, and I'm just going to put tablespoons of the mixture into each of those cupcake wrappers. Try to be careful not to mess around with the Oreo in the bottom, because you really want that to stay in the center. Once you've got your initial amount of your cheesecake mixture, tap it down on the bench. Give it a couple of really good bangs so that you're forcing that cheesecake down around the edges of that Oreo cookie in the base, and then you want to fill it up. Now this mixture is actually going to sink a tiny bit in the middle, so you kind of want to build them up in the center a little bit, and then you can sort of even them off using a knife down towards the edges of the cupcake wrapper. When you actually serve these, I would generally take the cupcake wrapper off. So by evening them off and pushing the mix all the way to the edges, you still kind of get that really nice little cupcakey look. I like to set these in the freezer so they're really firm for decorating. So 2 to 4 hours in the freezer should make them nice and firm. And then you want to take some finely crushed Oreos, and I'm just going to rim around the very, very edges of that Oreo cookie cheesecake to add in a little bit more cookie, but more so to give it a bit of color and a bit of texture. Your additional decorating whipped cream should be whipped really nice and firm. So you don't want to semi-whip it, you want to fully whip it to give you a nice pipe. And I'm just popping that into that disposable piping bag and doing like a sundae style of swirl. So you can see I'm starting in the center of each cheesecake, and I'm lifting the bag as I'm squeezing that cream out and then tapering it to a point at the top. I like to add one whole mini Oreo on top, and then I break a couple of them in half. So you've kind of got 1.5 on top. I just think it looks kind of cute and gives you a little bit more texture to your Oreo cupcake cheesecakes. These cupcakes need to be stored in the fridge right up until you're ready to serve them, but they also freeze up beautifully. So you can put them in an airtight container in the freezer, and you can freeze them for up to a month and just pull them out as you need them. I hope you guys love this super simple, no-bake Oreo cookies and cream cheesecake recipe. Make sure you subscribe to My Cupcake Addiction for more great Oreo recipes, including my homemade Oreo cookie recipe, my Oreo milk and cookie shots recipe, rainbow Oreos, Pac-Man Oreos, and lots more. As always, thanks very much for tuning in to My Cupcake Addiction.